Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak on Bill 23. My name is Eric Rader. I'm the director of the Wilderness Committee. We just celebrated 45 years of standing up for nature and wilderness across the country just in August, and I've been the director in Manitoba for 20 years. A couple things right off the top. I'm standing here to support Bill 23 anti-slapp legislation. I think we were looking at, BC brought this in 2019. So it's an important piece to have in place. The other thing before I forget is that Section 4.2 on injunctions, absolutely I support the removal of that from this bill, from the stories we've already heard. I'm going to start by telling you a story from 2010 from BC that would have driven the anti-slapp legislation. Taseko was a mining company that was going to mine beside Fish Lake. We were engaged with the First Nation whose territory it was as an environmental organization. We're not consultants. We work on a public need basis. And one of the things we did was their application to open up the mine beside Fish Lake. Their Environment Act proposal, what it would be called in Manitoba, stated that over time it was going to contaminate Fish Lake. We published that to our website. And then we got a cease and desist order, and then we got a lawsuit from Taseko Mines because we'd published the words that they had published in their application to the government to open up a mine. So within a few days of that being made public, the public being aware of that, one of the leading anti-slapp lawyers in the country walked into our office, Daniel Burnett, and said, "I'm taking this case on pro bono for you." So that was really good, except that we're looking at, losing our organization that had been in place for 30 years because this company is scared of the fact that we published the things they said in public. And the fact that a lawyer stepped forward and helped us was obviously very good, and it indicates that there's public good, there's pieces that we need to work on. What it took for our organization was a complete revamp of what we were allowed to say in public. And it took more than 100 hours of dispositions with this lawyer so that we could clear ourselves through this case. We eventually won the case, which is excellent. But again, it took a lot out of our organization to do this. So then fast forward to 2019, BC has passed their anti-slapp legislation. The letter that I've handed out to you is directly as a result of my work in Manitoba. During the pandemic, doing some research on caribou in Nopaming Provincial Park. One of the things that I looked on the Mines Branch website is I found mining claims that are inside the protected area. And I'm like, well, that can't really be. Like, who would make this mistake? This isn't possible. So I planned a trip. I took my kiddo out with me, and we paddled out on May Long weekend, and I documented GPS coordinates, photographs, drone footage, everything I needed to show that this mining claim is explicitly inside a protected area, which is illegal. Came home with the documentation, loaded it all up. This is a big deal. And then within a couple of days, I got this letter from the lawyer. So immediately, we're scared. We're trying to figure out how to protect our provincial parks. So when we talk about the personal and what this means, we've heard from other folks who talk about the risks that they've went through. There isn't anybody who speaks up for caribou. There's nobody who speaks up for our provincial parks, and I would imagine that everybody in this room here has fond memories of going and visiting provincial parks, and we lose pieces of those when we don't care for them. And so in this instance, again, Daniel Burnett, we contacted him. It wasn't pro bono this time. We sent over this. I've given you the news release that showed what we said in public and the letter that we got from the lawyer. Very explicitly in Manitoba, the reason we need this anti-slapp legislation is so that people can speak up on the public good. If I had said something wrong and I was getting sued because I had defamed someone, that's an entirely different situation. But we're stating the facts about what is happening for the animals on the land in Manitoba. So those pieces are direct. That was all I was going to present on today, but I really want to touch on something that Louise May talked about, and then Diane just presented on. I was part of the LeMay Forest fight for 120 days this year, and it was a hard thing. I would suggest that in January, I got a very terse message from the lawyers for the developer, for the owner of the LeMay Forest. That put me into again, looking for lawyers to hold this up, say, wait, why am I being told to do all this work for this lawyer? This isn't the way things are supposed to go. What I would suggest is that lawyers are, without anti-slapp suit, lawyers are emboldened to lash out at people and to pressure people. And they're emboldened because there is no response, there's nothing that people are going to do. So folks who can afford to hire lawyers get to control the narrative. And that happened for quite a while on LeMay Forest, because LeMay Forest was a 5-year battle that only culminated in a real decision being made by this government in the last 120 days. So what we do for public good here, for standing up for any piece of society, whether it's talking about social housing, which has come up here today, or talking about funding or organizations. MJ talked a little bit about what it was like to be in First Nations, be in Hollow Water, and be trying to confront the chief and council about their decision making. I was followed around Hollow Water on that same campaign by the RCMP every single time I showed up in the community. So there's a place where power imbalance exists, and it's up to you as leaders of this province to figure out how to sway the power imbalance back so that we as a collective can look after ourselves, we can look after nature, we can look after climate.